Ileane Smith is a fantastic YouTuber. She's got over 1 million views on YouTube. Miss Ileane Speaks is the YouTube channel. It's also her podcast, and she gives blogging tips and tips on everything related to digital media. Ileane, so great to have you on. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
It has been a long time coming. I'm so glad to be here, and congratulations on this new show you got going.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to have you as one of our first scheduled guests, because prior to this, it's been all fly by the seat of the pants, and it's been a great turnout. I know so many people are here to see you, and it's really fun doing this. Let me bring right up your prediction. I'm just going to show it full screen right away. We did wrong button. Let's try that. There we go. And let's get rid of this. And Ileane has a full prediction that you can read at livestreamuniverse.com/Ross105. But this is one of the highlights. She said, if we don't pay more attention to our audience, we'll end up getting lost in a pool of features and caught up in the struggle for platform dominance. Ileane, can you talk a little bit more about how you see that going as we approach 2019?
Yeah, Ross, honestly, I'm a little concerned about the choices that we have to make as content creators, because all of these platforms, they are really vying for us. I love the fact that, like, we're the product, right? And so they are all offering us, dangling so many carrots in front of us, and it gets a little confusing. Especially for us live streamers, because once you start live streaming, you pretty much can turn that into a podcast, but you basically need to decide what platform you're going to live stream on. Okay. Like, for example, you're dug in here on Facebook. I love YouTube, but Facebook is dangling some carrots, and so is Twitch in front of me that is making me think, maybe I will dabble and explore some other platforms. Right.
Well, now you have a recent blog post and video about the different platforms you've gone live to talk about the different platforms. Can you break down for people maybe what the advantages are of Facebook versus Twitch versus YouTube, and why you might pick one over the other?
Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that blog post, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to document everything in that blog post, is sort of to be like an ultimate guide for all of the live streaming platforms that we have as choices. We don't want to see people going after some of these smaller platforms and then winding up getting their feelings hurt if the platform doesn't survive. So I decided to focus on the bigger platforms, the ones that I feel will be more stable, at least in 2019, but and beyond. And so we started off talking about Facebook, and then we went to YouTube. I'm saying we, but I mean me. And then we went Instagram Live, and then Twitter, aka Periscope Live, and then Twitch. Okay. So now I want to just take first, I got to do something before we both forget. And I know you mentioned it earlier, but I'm just going to take one quick moment to say, happy birthday, Patricia A. Murray.
Yes. Happy birthday, Patricia.
I promised I was going to do that. Okay, so now I can cross that off my list.
And also, let's mention IleaneSmith.com is where you can find that blog post and links to all of Ileane's channels. So check out her website, IleaneSmith.com.
Yeah, and what happens is I actually did a little research before I published this post, because I had already done the video, but I was thinking, okay, I need to turn this into a podcast. And I said, well, let's see if I'm just going to do some show notes. Let me just look out there. And I see most of the people that are writing about live streaming are not people who live stream. There's some hired, a hired freelancer, or, who've pulled together some platforms and some listicles of things. Right. But I wanted to be the person who walks the walk and talks the talk. Okay. Because I've been in on all of these platforms extensively over the last couple of years. Okay, so let's talk about advantages, because that was your original question.
That's right.
For Facebook, I have the best free community building tools around, which is Facebook groups. And even though we can go live on our pages, and of course we can go live on our profiles, but I think that the gold is in the groups. And as long as they keep these groups free, even though I know they're talking about they may, change how the groups work, I think that's the real gold, because that's one thing that you don't have on, and I'll just compare it to YouTube. YouTube is this humongous video platform, although of course there's a lot of advantages there with search and all of that. But in the groups, we've kind of self-selected ourselves in the groups. And we know that our favorite groups, when we see that notification, we're going to head over there, because it's almost like a little, tight-knit community that that you're going to be heard, that you're going to be seen, your questions will get answered and all that. And that is that ecosystem that's been provided by Facebook. So it's kind of offering the best of both worlds, really.
And if you go live in a Facebook group, is everybody still getting notified? Because I don't think I get notifications in groups to quite the extent that I used to.
I think it has to be one of the groups that you have pinned.
Ah, okay.
So, and I haven't done any testing on that, but I do know that I am getting notifications on the groups that I really care about. When I do see so-and-so went live in, like the eCam group, I love to use the eCam software. So we've got 2 Facebook groups. So when somebody goes live over there, especially if it's one of the developers, I flock over there to see what's new, what's coming down the pike. And the same way, when I go live in the group, people come over because they know I'm going to share a tip, or I'm going to, tell them something, or bring up a topic that has been top of mind, or answer someone's question. So
yeah, even though only if the member turns their notifications on.
Yeah. And I'm talking, most of my notifications for me are the desktop ones. Right. I don't have notifications on my phone. But okay. So let's just move on real quick.
I frequent that group regularly, Barb says as well, which is true, because I do see the ones that I'm not frequenting regularly, which, you can't frequent, you join so many. So, but let's move on to the other, let's move on to the other platforms as well.
So for YouTube, as long as you meet the requirements, they have their threshold for monetization, you can get super chats. And if you've ever been on any of the hashtag Niminati live streams with Nick Nimmin and D Nimmin, you can super chats going all day long. You can just imagine why they stay on for hours and hours, because all day long they're getting paid.
Sounds like good incentive.
Yes. And with premieres, which is another thing that I wanted to talk about, how all these platforms are introducing premieres, which actually started on Twitch. But premiere is basically you upload a video, but you schedule it for a certain time and you're there. So it almost plays like a live video. Right. And you can get those super chats even for premieres. So you don't have to be live in order to you just need to be in the audience. So you can still get paid. So that's
you create
another
that live experience, but you don't have to be actually doing the broadcast live, but you can chat and answer questions and all that stuff.
Exactly. So I think that's probably, there's tons of advantages for YouTube, as far as the search and all that stuff. And YouTube definitely features the live prominently when, people go live. You see it when you go to your subscription feed. What's at the top of the feed is always the person or the people that you subscribe to if they're live.
That's right. So now Twitch is getting a little more attention among talk show people and live streamers outside the IRL gamer eating and crafts and that that kind of genres. Do you recommend that people doing interview shows and talk shows and educational shows, do you recommend that they start making inroads at Twitch?
I'm a fan of being an early adopter, so I say yes. See, remember I said earlier, I'm focusing on the major platforms. And although you and we talk about Twitch and we know the deal, but somebody watching this may not know Twitch is owned by Amazon. So you don't have to worry about it shutting down in the middle of the night. It's going to be around. And when it comes to monetization, in a lot of ways, they're leading the pack. YouTube is catching up with Twitch in terms of the premieres, and something else that Twitch has, emotes. When I first went over there and I said, emotes, what the heck is that? What? It's Twitch's language of emojis. It's their own emojis. So now YouTube has replicated that with what they call the memberships. When you are a member of someone, but this channel has to have 100,000 subscribers, you can pay to become a member, and then you get to use their custom emoji, which is something that they've been doing on Twitch for, I don't know, maybe 2 years now with these emotes. So
each of the platforms have definite strengths.
Yes, they do. They have strengths, but I think what's great about Twitch is for folks like you and me, they want to embrace the podcasting community, and doing that live recording of your podcast probably goes over well on a platform like Twitch. And they have all kinds of features. There's so many features that I know Stephen Healy, shout out to Stephen, was talking about doing a course. And I said to myself, good luck, Stephen, because I thought about doing it too. And I said, whew, I got notes for days. And I'm thinking, and they're constantly evolving the platform and offering new features. But it's one of those things that you do have to dedicate time to. If you don't have time, if you're short on time and you're just trying to fit in different platforms, then I would say nix Twitch. Twitch is a platform where, like, when you stream, you should be prepared to stream for a long time, a couple of hours at minimum.
Right. Now, Terry Johnson asks, do you like the stories feature on YouTube?
Personally, I've watched a few stories and I did like them. I like them. I like the fact that when someone does a Q&A, in fact, it was D. Nimmin. I'll give him another shout out. D. Nimmin had done a Q&A, and everybody who asked him a question, that question that they typed, he could put that up on the screen so that you're seeing the question as he's giving the answer to it. And you're seeing the person who asked the question. You can't click through or anything like that, but it's giving the person the visibility, as well as, you get to do that Q&A with the stories. Now, my concern, like I told you at the beginning of this, I'm concerned about this stuff because, YouTube or Google is shutting down Google Plus. And so I think that what they're trying to do is, in a backhanded way, do social media, because everybody says Google cannot do social media. So I think what they're trying to do with two things, the stories and the community tab, is kind of sneakily doing social media over. And already I see some bad things about, for example, with the community tab, because I do have that. I think most people who have their channel monetized have the community tab. And oh boy, I remember I wanted this thing so bad. But what happens is you don't get notifications.
Right.
So if somebody leaves you a question or comments on one of your community posts, you don't know about it. You have to keep checking it to see, did I get any comments today? So Like, okay, YouTube, fix this. It's not like they just rolled it out. No, they've been working on this for about 2 years. So
That's right.
they should have this together. But they should be better organized, I think.
Yeah, they always set
And just
thresholds,
take us in
YouTube.
order.
Just as soon as you think you are getting closer, they've always got a high threshold for what it takes to get certain features. I heard some talk about maybe the community tab being rolled out to everybody. But
It may be.
Previously there was definitely a threshold of, I don't know, was it 1,000 or 10,000 subscribers, or usually they start like 100,000 subscribers and then they drop it down. So,
yes.
when it comes to YouTube, what kind of videos do you enjoy watching? What do you think makes for a successful YouTube video? Different from the live streams that people are trying to monetize with super chat and that kind of stuff.
Well, I've always been a person who likes to watch tutorials. So
Right.
I may not be the best person to answer that question. Because I can, when I run out of tutorials on YouTube, I head over to lynda.com and watch tutorials. So I'm always trying to learn something. But, there is other content that I have been following, some people that are into this, the wellness and the health and talking about productivity. Our friend Amy, used to be Schmidtauer, now Landino. She's been doing a lot of those, how to plan, how to be more productive. What's it like when you wake up in the morning, those kinds of things. And I think it's a connection with the person, because I always liked Amy, even when we used to hang out back in the day. So seeing her evolution. And then one time I was doing some research on one of my videos, and I was looking up my name, and I found this other, I got one of these alerts from Morning Fame. And in Morning Fame, they tell you like all the videos that you're competing against. And I found this other girl named Ileane. She's a Chinese girl, but her name is Ileane, and she does those same types of videos. So I'm kind of enjoying that, maybe a little meditation, maybe just walking through someone's day and what it's like for them to be more productive and all that kind of stuff. So I like those kinds of videos. Well, Ileane, by the way, her channel is Lavendeer. So she's got a really good channel. And then there's one more, and that's At Home with Nikki. Oh my gosh, this girl, she just has everything, and her house is in the perfect place. And then, she's doing some branded sponsored show. And so she's a great person to watch to find out, how do you actually do a sponsored video? Right. Okay, you got this person or this company who wants to let you have this product, and then you're going to review it. And Nikki, look at Home with Nikki or At Work with Nikki, and that's Nikki. And she is amazing.
Well, you are amazing as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Ileane Smith. It's IleaneSmith.com is the website. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/Ms. Ileane Speaks. You can also find her at Ms. Ileane Speaks across the podcast world, I guess, universe, whatever you want to call it. Real quick, before we wrap up, your thoughts on Anchor. I know Anchor gets knocked by a lot of people in the podcast community. You've been a strong supporter of Anchor. Talk about your feelings with Anchor.
Yeah, and you know what? I was going to mention, we didn't talk about this before. I actually have a podcast that's about Anchor.
Right.
Once again, tutorials, right? So It's called Miss Ileane Presents The Anchor Show. But it's just anchor.fm/Ileane. And I give tips, and they have these fantastic Facebook groups. One is even run by the folks at Anchor. I met Mike Mignano. He's one of the co-founders. I met him at Podcast Movement. And I think that it is an amazing way for someone to get started with podcasting. So there's been all kinds of negative things said about Anchor, but somebody had to shake up the podcasting industry because let's face it, if you're doing traditional podcasting, it's hard.
Yeah. It is.
So we needed somebody to come in with something easy, a different approach. It may not be the be all and end all, but it's a way to get your foot in the door and, to get started. And that's why I love it.
Well, we covered a lot of live streaming and video creation. Would love to talk to you another time about podcasting and blogging and all the stuff that you keep people up to date on. Check out Ms. Ileane Speaks, the YouTube channel, and also IleaneSmith.com. Thanks a lot, Ileane.
Thank you, Ross. Bye, everybody.